soundness in my flesh because of thy anger? Is there any rest in my bones because of my sin? There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. We could get help from our angles, even from our own. It's been like this for a minute, that ain't the object. The melanin in our skin makes us a target. What makes it worse is that I'm so distracted. Worried about everything, problems. Say, Lord help us, please. I worry about if you even please with me. My iniquities are gone over my head. As a heavy burden, they are too heavy for me. My wounds stink and are corrupt because of my foolishness. I am troubled. I am bowed down quickly. World is filled with many problems. You're the only one that can help us solve them. There's so much that you could do. Only we can turn back to you. If we take a look, the table is winning. But I know you know from the beginning, for us to get it right, you bring us to your light. I go mourning all the day long, for my wounds are filled with a loathsome disease. There is no soundness in my flesh. I am feeble and so broken. I am ruined by reason of this quietness of heart. Yeah, all my desires before thee, and my groaning is not here for thee. My heart paineth, my strength faileth me. As for the light of my eyes, also. This day, like every day, we need you. Need you to come encourage us. Help us up, keep us strong. We go through these situations in life, our careers, as females, dealing with these wicked people in the world, trying to stay upright. Struggle is real. This day, every day, we need you. We all need you. Yeah. Recession.
Shalom, loved ones. It's your brother Yaakov. Withdraw, whichever one roll off your tongue, you know. Back again. Holla at y'all, my people. And this time, well, first off, let's just say shout out to my brothers, the Shadows. My brother Johanna 82. That was all of us together on that track called This Day. If you want to hear it for yourself, you can go on SoundCloud to the Shadows profile and pull up a album called Therapy Sessions. And the whole album is us just going off about different topics that go on in the world and things that was near and dear to our hearts. At that time, I think it was like a year and a half ago we made that one. So SoundCloud Therapy Session, and that's the intro to the project. It's called This Day. It's the Shadows Project featuring myself and our brother Johanna 82. And today we're going to talk about, for just a little while, a scripture that's in Sirach Ecclesiasticus called, it's chapter 12, verses 1 through 7 we're going to start off with, and then we just going to expand on that. And the title of this talk is called, When You Do Good, Know Who You Are Doing It To. or doing it for. And it goes like this. Sirach Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verses 1 through 7. When thou wilt do good, know to whom thou doest it, so shalt thou be thanked for thy benefits. Do good to the godly man, and thou shalt find a recompense, and if not from him, from the Most High. Let's see what recompense means. Recompense, compensation or reward granted for loss, harm, or harm suffered, or effort made. So let me read that one again. This is verse 2. Do good to the godly man, and thou shalt find a recompense, basically a compensation. And if not from him, if he don't have it to give you back, it will come from the Most High. And that's, to me, even better. And it's two verses that back that up that y'all could check out on y'all own time. This is Proverbs 11 and 25. Well, basically Proverbs 11, 24 and 25. They real good verses that go along with that. This is verse 3. There can no good come to him that is always occupied in evil, nor to him that giveth no alms. Now, before y'all get carried away and think that that's meaning that a person who don't get no offerings in church can't get no blessings, it's two verses that refute that. Basically, this is Sirach chapter 35, verse 1. He that keepeth the law bringeth offerings enough. So basically, if you keeping the law and you doing what the commandments say, that's your offering right there. That's your alms right there. And this is Proverbs 15 and 18. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination unto Yahuwah. Abomination means it's disgusting. Make them gag, want to throw up. So that's just refuting, just in case if you heard that one line and thought that that meant that you can basically act, as my granny used to say, act a monkey, and then just give your offerings and everything was going to be okay. Them two verses let you know that that's not what that's saying. This is verse 4. Give to the godly man, and help not a sinner. Do well unto him that is lowly, but give not to the ungodly. Hold back thy bread, and give it not unto him, lest he overmaster thee thereby. For else thou shalt receive twice as much evil for all the good that thou hast done unto him. For the Most High hateth sinners, and will repay vengeance unto the ungodly. And you can get the backup for that in Deuteronomy 32 and 35. And keepeth them against the almighty day of punishment. Give unto the good, and help not the sinner. And this is Sirach 8 and 10 that goes along with that. It says, kindle not the coals of a sinner, lest thou be burnt with the flame of his fire. And this is Deuteronomy 32 and 35 that I just mentioned. To me, and me is the Most High speaking in this one, belongeth vengeance and recompense. There go that word again. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. This is from the good news so that we can get a little better understanding. Yahuwah, the Most High, will take revenge on them and punish them. The time will come when they will fall. The day of their doom is near. And with all this stuff going on in the world right now, it's looking like it's more near, like what Pastor Paul said, nearer than when we first believed. So, if you ain't right, you better get right. That's all I can say on that. This is Psalm 73 and 18. That matches with that about the slippery part. Surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Thou castest them down into destruction. This is Sirach 21 and 10. The way of sinners is made plain with stones, but at the end thereof is the pit of hell. Good gracious. This is the Good News translation. The road that sinners walk is smooth and paved, but it leads to the world of the dead. This is Proverbs 14 and 12. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Let's get that out, the God's Word translation. There is a way that seems right to a person, but eventually it ends in death. But I digress on all of that because this verse right here always gets me in line when I get too preoccupied on what's going to happen to anybody who might have wronged me or whatever, because I get excited when I read them verses. But this verse right here always puts me back in check. This is 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha, chapter 9 and verse 13. And therefore be not thou curious how the ungodly shall be punished and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world was created. Now let's get that out of the Good News Translation. Therefore, Ezra, you should stop asking about how the wicked will be punished. Instead, be concerned about how and when the righteous will be saved, for the world was created for them and belongs to them. So if we stay righteous, we don't even need to worry about what's going to happen to the people that's wicked, because we already just read them verses. We know what's going to happen. So let's not put our life on pause just waiting for something to happen to somebody. You know, like when I was little, I used to tell my granny on like, it was a bunch of us in the house. It was me and all my little cousins, and all of us was doing stuff. But like whenever somebody would do something to me, I go into my granny and I tell on them, and I just want something to happen to them right away. Like I want them to get a beating. You know, like if they hit me, and then sometimes my granny would just be like, "All right, y'all behave in there," and I'd be saying like, "Behave? You told me don't take matters into my own hand, don't hit nobody back, and that's all you gonna say is behave?" For real, you know? And that's how I feel like we feel with the Most High sometimes. He said vengeance is his. And then when we see people just constantly prospering and see good stuff happening to people who did stuff to us, you know. But the Most High knows best, you know, so we just leave that in his hands. And all we really can do is just keep on living, because looking back, I really ain't want nothing to happen to my loved ones. And sometimes I was in the wrong, and if I want something to happen to them, then the same thing, I was worthy of the same thing, because I was cutting up too. See what I'm saying? And that's the same thing here. Like, we might think we perfect. We might think we are always in the right. But sometimes if we search long enough, or the right person come along, they could tell some stuff that we did that wasn't so right. You know, or even if we think long enough. There's some things that we did that's worthy of punishment. So the same way we want the Most High to be merciful to us, we gotta accept when He's merciful to somebody else that we might not think deserve no mercy. Because it's not our decision to make. Like we just read, vengeance belongs to Him. So all we supposed to be doing is trying to be the best that we can be. Not sitting there just putting our life on pause, or just sitting there waiting on something to happen to somebody who did something to us. Because for little do we know, somebody might be sitting there waiting for something to happen to us for something that we done did to them. You feel me? And even if not, it's in His hands, it's not in ours. And I always rather leave vengeance in His hands, because if I do something to somebody, it's going to be consequences and repercussions. But if the Most High do something to somebody, who going to check the Most High? Who going to, give him any type of consequences and repercussions? So it's best to let Him act in those situations. So let me read that one more time. 2nd Esdras 9 and 13. And therefore be not thou curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world was created. And now the good news one more time. Therefore, Ezra, you should stop asking about how the wicked will be punished. Instead, be concerned about how and when the righteous will be saved. The world was created for them and belongs to them. That's good news enough, for real, to know that we'll be like chilling with the Most High. Whoever ain't trying to do what's right or not doing what's right will be not chilling, but they'll be hot somewhere. So just keep that in the back of our minds and stop being so worried about what's going on with somebody else and worry about ourselves. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 29:20. Getting back on topic, because we kind of veered off a little with them scriptures got good to me. So back on the subject of when you do good, know who you're doing it for. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 29 and 20. Help thy neighbor according to thy power, and beware that thou thyself falleth not into the same. Good News Translation, so we can be on the same page. So help your neighbor as much as you can, but protect yourself against the dangers involved. That's basically saying if your neighbor come to you asking for a couple dollars so they can not get put out, protecting yourself from the dangers involved is making sure you got enough to pay all you need to pay. Because it'll be a shame for you to bail your neighbor out or help your neighbor out and then you get put out. And I know about that far too well because it was many a time in my young life where as though I had a couple extra dollars and I would give people money. If I saw somebody needed something, I would just be quick to run to the rescue. And then if I just so happened to give out all of what I had, then if when I needed some help, it wasn't really nobody around willing to help me. First thing come out their mouth was, what you do with all that money you had? Where all your money at? So definitely look out for self-preservation is what you say on the airplane, the little thing that they have in the back of the seats. Secure your mask before helping somebody else put their mask on. So definitely make sure you good before you help somebody else. Sometimes the only help that you can afford to give to somebody is to send up a prayer for them. Because if you try to dig in your pocket and help them, that's all you have for what you needed, and then what you gonna do. So yeah, just be mindful. It's good to have a good heart, but let your heart and your mind work together. Don't just try to do everything, because sometimes you just can't. Just ain't in you. Just ain't got it to give, for real. This is where we at. Excuse me. This is Sirach. Oh yeah, so help your neighbor as much as you can, but protect yourself against the dangers involved. This is Sirach 20, 16, and 17. The fool have said, I have no friends. I have no thank for all my good deeds, and they that eat my bread speak evil of me. How often and how many shall he be laughed to scorn? For he knoweth not aright what it is to have, and to him it is all one to him as if he had it not. The Good News Translation says, then that fool will say, nobody likes me. Nobody appreciates what I do for them. They take what I give them, but then they talk behind my back. 17 said, and he is right. He is a constant joke to everyone. So it's like you gotta, when you giving, like I just said, make sure that you giving, and that's the whole thing that prompted this whole talk. When you giving, make sure that you giving from a place of love and not giving for love. It was like a meme that basically sparked me to this line of studying. And I think I should go back a couple more verses in 20. We're gonna start at 13. In chapter 20, we're going to start at verse 13, and then we're going to go through 16 and 17. Let's see. When a person, this is from the Good News Translation, when a person with good judgment speaks, he wins friends. A stupid person, though, can shower compliments on everybody, and it won't help him a bit. If such a person gives you something, it will not do any good. It won't be as valuable as he thinks it is. He isn't generous with anything but criticism, which he will shout for all the world to hear. If he lends you something today, he'll want it back tomorrow. Don't you hate people like that? Then that fool will say, nobody likes me. Nobody appreciates what I do for them. They'll take what I give them, but they'll talk about me behind my back. And he's right. He's a constant joke to everyone. So it's like when you give, make sure that it's something that you can afford to give. Like don't give your last, don't give nothing out your rent money. And then the person thinking that the person might give it back. And then if they don't give it back, then you get ready to get put out. You see what I'm saying? Give what you can afford to give. Give something that's not going to hurt you. And like I said a couple minutes ago, like if you can't afford to give it, you just can't. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. Bottom line. Because there's nothing worse than you giving something that you don't have. And then you just want to cry about it and cuss the person out that you gave it to and all that stuff. Because you're supposed to consider all that before you give it. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people will tell you sad stories. People will like promise you their life and tell you how much, oh boy, I appreciate you, oh boy, this, that, and the other one, I don't know what I'd do without you and all that. But then when it come time to pay it back, like it's a verse that say, don't be, like open-handed when it's time to receive, but then tight-fisted when it come time to give it back. But a lot of people really are that way, and you just had to be prepared for that. When you giving, make sure it's something that if you don't get it back, it's not going to crush your world. Because at that point, it becomes your problem. It don't become that person's problem. You might don't even see or hear from that person. Or you might, like I remember back in the day living here in Baltimore, and it's probably like that in every state. Like, used to be people at the mall. Plenty of times I rolled up on some of my homies around the holiday season back when I celebrated Christmas and all that. And I just see one of my homies at the mall, and I'm always happy-go-lucky. Yo, what's up, such and such? And they just be like gritting and looking mean. And I'm like, yo, what's wrong with you? I'm like, yo, I just seen such and such. Yo, know you owe me money. And I seen yo with hella bags in his hand. This nigga had mad bags. And they ain't talk to me nothing about the money that he owed me, Like, people will borrow from you or whatever and tell you whatever they need to tell you to make you give to them, but then they don't have no intention on paying you back. And they'll be right in front of your face, flaunting the stuff that they bought. They might even show you what they bought. If you would have said something to them, they probably would have went in their bag and opened up the box and show you the kicks they just bought, or show you what they just bought, their son or their daughter or whatever. You feel me? Like, people just think, it's a verse in here that say that people think that a loan is a gift. And there's a lot of people who think that way. They think that a loan is a gift. And that's what this whole study, talk, or whatever you want to call it, is about. Knowing who you're doing something for. When you give to a person, know who that is that you're giving it to. Then you won't be no surprises. It won't be no, hey, why they doing this? Or dang, I ain't expect them to do that. Gotta know people, Can't help everybody. It's not beneficial to you to try to help everybody. So let's get back into it. That's enough of me talking out my heart. This is Sirach 32:19. Do nothing without advice, and then when thou hast once done, repent not. Good News Translation. Never do anything without thinking it through. And once you have done something, don't look back and wish you had done something else. Common English Bible says it like this. Do nothing without deliberation. And when you have acted, don't feel regret. Deliberate is a verb, and it means to engage in long and careful consideration. What I just got from saying. Think about it long and hard. Somebody asks you, can you help them with something? Think about, can you afford to do that? Whether it be money, whether it be time, whether it be whatever it is. Think about if you can afford to do it. Think about how it's going to affect you if you do it. Think about, there's so many things to think about before you just do something. Don't just spring into action. See what I'm saying? Because like, you might spring into action now, and then the regret will be terrible for who knows how long. Who knows what bad situation it might put you in. But think about all that before you act. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 13:3-8. It says, the rich man have done wrong, and yet he threatened withal. The poor is wronged, and he must also entreat. If thou be for his profit, he will use thee. But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. If thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yea, he will make thee bear, and will not be sorry for it. If he have need of thee, he will deceive thee, and smile upon thee, and put thee in hope. He will speak to thee fair, and say, what wantest thou? And he will shame thee by his meats, until he have drawn thee dry twice or thrice, 2 or 3 times. And at the end he will laugh thee to scorn. Afterward, when he seeth thee, he will forsake thee, and shake his head at thee. Beware that thou be not deceived and brought down in thy jollity. Good News Translation says it like this, because probably going to need a little help with that one. A lot of different words in there. If a rich person wrongs someone, he can afford to add insult to injury. But if a poor person is wronged, he is forced to apologize for himself. Now, he the one got done wrong, but he got to apologize. A rich person will use you as long as he can profit from it. But when you need him, he will leave you helpless, what we just got finished talking about. He will live with you as long as you have anything and will gladly drain you dry. If he needs you, he will trick you with his smiles and cheerful, kindly words. What's up, brother? What's up, yo? And all that old stuff till they get what they want out you. Brother Wood, I know y'all. Do you need anything? He will ask. He will feed you until you are embarrassed. Like people love to offer you food. Somebody will ask you to come and do all types of work and labor and don't never once mention no money, but the first thing come out, they go, oh, we gonna feed you. We gonna make sure you eat. And if you give me my money, I can eat great by myself and don't gotta look at y'all while I'm eating. This is, he will feed you until you are embarrassed. Finally, when he have drained you 2 or 3 times over, he will laugh at you. If you see him later, he will pretend he doesn't know you and pass you by. And talk crap about you once you walk past, once you out of earshot or you think you out of earshot. Be careful not to be misled. You could be enjoying yourself and suddenly find yourself humiliated. Get that again. Be careful not to be misled. You could be enjoying yourself, eating all that food, hanging out with all the people you that don't really like you, that you always dream of hanging out with, and thought they think you cool or whatever, but that's because you the ride, or that's because you whatever it is that you bring to the table. If you a person of the opposite sex, you might be something sexual, whatever it is that they think you are, but as soon as they don't need you no more, what it just say? They will act like, pretend they don't even know you and pass you by. They might roll up the window. Boy, hold on, hurry up, roll up the window. There goes such and such. I don't want them to see me. I done been, a lot of things in life, I done been on both sides of the spectrum, so I know how it goes from both sides. I done been with the people that was doing the good thing, and I done been with the people that was doing the bad thing. So I know how it go on both sides. And I know this word, that let me know that this word, what I'm reading right here, ain't nothing but the truth. I done experienced it from both sides. I ain't always been good. I was been the one that was doing the bad stuff, and I done been the one getting the bad stuff done to me. But it's real. This is Sirach 8 and 12. Lend not unto him that is mightier than thyself, for if thou lendest him, count it but loss. Good News Translation. You should not lend anything to someone more powerful than you. If you do, you might as well consider it lost. You should not guarantee anyone else's loan to an extent that you cannot afford. We talked about that. You must be prepared to pay any such guarantee, because if they don't pay it and you the one signing your name down, most 9 times out of 10 they ain't gonna pay it because you the one signing your name down. That just becomes your problem. So my dad used to always say, son, don't let their problems become your problems. So that's what we reading right here. You should not guarantee anyone else's loan to an extent that you cannot afford. You must be prepared to pay any such guarantee. If your name on that contract, 9 times out of 10, you going to be the one paying it. So if you know you can't pay it and you can't afford that, don't just be so kind-hearted and big-hearted that you go ahead and sign off on something. Because that person that you sign, all they going to thanks, yo, appreciate you, yo. And if the thing do come, they like, ain't in my name. I don't know what you going to do. Hey, I'm going to try to help you. I'm going to try to see who I can call and get it. But you knew I ain't have it when you signed it. And 9 times out of 10, they ain't not lying. They didn't. You did know they ain't have it. You try to keep hope alive. But this is verse 14. You should not bring a lawsuit against a judge. He will win because of his position. He's got a position of power, so 9 times out of 10, they're going to rule in his favor. This is 15. You should not travel with anyone who is reckless. It will cause you nothing but trouble. He will do any foolish thing he pleases, and you will die with him. This is Proverbs 13 and 20. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Good News Translation. Keep company with the wise, and you will become wise. If you make friends with stupid people, you will be ruined. I think that's pretty plain. Proverbs 23 and 9. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of thy words. Good News Translation. Don't try to talk sense to a fool. He can't appreciate it. Wasting your time. What it say in the New Testament, Matthew 7:6, you casting your pearls before swine. They listen to what you saying and then they come back and tear you to pieces. This is Proverbs 16:2. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but Yahuwah weighs the spirits. Good News Translation. You may think that everything you do is right, but Yahuwah, the Most High, weighs your motives. And Lauryn Hill did that on her live unplugged. Motives and thoughts. Check your motives and thoughts. That's something that we all got to do, because sometimes we think we doing good, but if you doing good and it's only based on the fact that you want something back from that person, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you going out and you treating somebody to meal after meal after meal after meal, and the only thing you really want to do is lay down with that person, then that's your dumbness. When she just take and eat all your food and you never get to lay down with her, that's on you. You know, if you want to just take somebody out to eat just because you know they like food and you like food, and you want to see the happy reaction on their face when y'all taste the different foods that's pleasing to y'all palate, and you don't want nothing out of it, then that's beautiful. You know. But if you taking them with an intent or with any ulterior motives for the good that you're doing for somebody, because like one of the worst things you could do is do something for somebody, and then when things don't go your way or the way you thought they was gonna go, the first thing that come out of your mouth is, after all I done for you, or yo, I done this for this person, I done did that for this person, and what I get for it? Nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then this guy ain't even do nothing for it, and he gets this, that, and the third. That just let it know that the reason why you was doing the things that you was doing was not genuine, and it was not from the heart. And that goes right back to that fool that we was talking about. That once again, the fool say, I have no friends. I have no thank for all my good deeds. And they that eat my bread, speak evil of me. He's a sucker. He's a dummy. He's free food in my phone. He does him. How often and of how many shall he be laughed to scorn? Everybody laughing at you. People making videos all about all type of simps and manginas and betas and calling you all that cucks and all them other things they call people like that. How often and of how many shall he be laughed to scorn? For he knoweth not aright what it is to have, and to him it is as all as one as if he had it not, as if you ain't even never had it. Because all you soon as you get it, you giving it on somebody else and getting treated same way. Good News Translation one more time and we done. Then that fool will say, nobody likes me. Nobody appreciates what I do for them. They take what I give them, but then they talk about me behind my back. That's your dumbness. Because once again, the title of this whole little talk, and we gonna really end it on this note right here. It says, when thou wilt do good, know to whom thou doest it, so thou shalt be thanked for thy benefits. And let's get that out of the Good News Translation. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, and we starting at the first verse. We're going to read this. We're going to be done. When you do a good deed, make sure you know who benefits from it. Then what you do will not be wasted. You will be repaid for any kindness you show to a devout person. A devout person is a person who believes in the Most High. If he doesn't repay you, the Most High will. And with something like that, I'd rather that they don't repay me, because I surely like to be paid from the Most High. It says, no good ever comes to a person who gives comfort to the wicked. It is not a righteous act. And a lot of people will give to the wicked, because a lot of times, especially in this world we're in now, the wicked is popular. The wicked is popping. So you just like to be in their good graces. Yo, tell them I know you, yo. Go take this picture with me real quick for the gram, yo. And you do something for this person, and that person will come back and treat you like I said. They'll shake their head and act like they don't know you later. With your stuff you just done for them. With their light bill you just paid for them. With your lights that they just paid. They gonna flick their lights on and off. Hurry up and cut them off when they see you at the door, so they act like they don't know you outside. This is, give to righteous people, but don't help sinners. Do good to humble people, and people don't like to give to the humble people, because it ain't, a lot of times ain't no clout involved with helping a humble person. Humble person might not be somebody that everybody know. You say you help them, nobody ain't gonna give you no points for that. They might say, oh, that was a nice thing you done or whatever, but what about such and such? You know, that's the type of stuff that happens. It says, don't give them food or they will use your kindness against you. Every good thing you do for such people will bring you twice as much trouble in return. The Most High himself hates sinners, and he will punish them. Give to good people, but do not help sinners. So if you follow this advice right here and follow this advice that I've read in this, I feel like it'll make your life a lot easier. Take it from somebody who learned the hard way, who did the things that it said do not do, and did not do the things that it said that you're supposed to do, and suffer the consequences. Take it from me. I'm here to let you know that these books is telling you the right way to do it, the way we think to do it, and the way society and social media and all that stuff is telling us to do it is the absolute wrong way. Everything's been turned upside down. Do what the books say. Don't do what whoever famous or popular tell you they say. And with that, I'm going to say Most High bless you and keep you. Hopefully and prayerfully, we'll be back again real soon with something else. Thank y'all for your time. Shalom. Peace. Have a blessed week.